as the night falls, looks into the grave, then turns to Allah and says, "O Lord, he is alone, in darkness and in a confined space. He is not accustomed to darkness, nor the confines of a grave, nor to loneliness." Allah says, "What do you intend, O Jibreel?" Jibreel says, "O Allah, allow me to accompany him on this night." Allah states, "O Jibreel, has he ever called on to you during his life?" Jibreel responds with a negative. Jibreel says, "No." Allah says, "In that case, O Jibreel, you have no right to go to him on this night." The rest of the angels ask the same question. Allah responds in a similar fashion. Finally, the archangel stands defeated in front of the throne of Allah and states, "O Allah, what shall become of him on this night?" At that point, Allah responds, "O Jibreel, on this night I shall be his friend. I shall be his light. I shall be his expanse, and I shall be his intimate companion. For he had yearned me in his lifetime, and no one has a greater right than me to be with him tonight." That is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. The Imam continues. He says, "O Allah, I have sinned, and I have sinned frequently. But O Allah, I have not sinned because you are not worthy of obedience. I have sinned only because of my weakness." Look at this beautiful point that he is making. We need to open up to Allah. We need to break loose. We need to break those boundaries. We need to release ourselves from that prison. Even when we go to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, when he says, "Allah yahil bain al-mar'i wa qalbi," that intimate reality, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, who knows the intimate thoughts of ours even before they occur. How can we be pretentious in front of Allah? We need to break free in front of Allah. We need to say, "Allah, this is what I am, that you know best. You have hidden from the world what I am, but you know what I am. I know what I am. At this point, when I'm working to ground zero, I want you to acknowledge me as I am. The sinner, the despicable soul, the awful person, the worst of mankind, the one below which there is no existence, the one worthy of the seventh pit of hell. This is me. I have come to you. Accept me as I am." Look at the confidence that can fill and instill within us after that. If we can arrive at that point, if we can truly break ourselves to that level, if we can truly acknowledge ourselves, then the journey begins. Otherwise, the journey doesn't begin. Why? Because on the day of Qiyamah, I was something else, and the Arif that was advancing was a mere actor. And the actor has been peeled off, and the real person appears, who has yet to awaken. If we cannot arrive at that point, that very core intimate reality, where we can open up to Allah and say, "Allah, this is what I am," then the journey does not begin. Now, we come to the meaning of what we've been talking about, of fluidity. This tawadu and fluidity means acknowledgement of the self. Once we acknowledge ourselves, then that brings us to this beautiful state in which nothing is permanent. Because every time we are acknowledging ourselves, and every time there is preparedness and a state of readiness to accept new things. Imagine how liberating this must be. When a Buddhist comes to us with an argument, we will be open and say, "Oh Allah, if it is true, I will accept it for your sake, and if it is not, then I will not." When we are questioned in the depths of ourselves, were you right in this judgment and what you said? At the core of our being, if there is acknowledgement, we will say, "No, you are right, I was wrong." And we will immediately say, "Astaghfirullah," and Allah will forgive. People ask, will Allah be able to forgive Yazid? Allahu Akbar, what a nonsensical question. There is nothing Allah cannot forgive. Yes? If you were to multiply Yazid 1 billion times over, Allah can forgive that. However, Yazid would not remain Yazid. Yazid, whilst being Yazid, cannot be forgiven. If there is change in Yazid, of course Yazid is forgiven. This is the meaning of forgiveness. The meaning of forgiveness is this constant change, this evolution, this growth. This is what we are talking about. If we arrive at that point, and then there is readiness, and there is constant introspection, and we are constantly reverting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there is a state of forgiveness. Imagine our state right now. Somebody says a comment which hurts me, that stays with me, governs my mood, doesn't it? It governs my mood to the extent that it preoccupies me. It preoccupies my mind. It preoccupies me at an emotional level. Whatever I say from the pulpit is actually influenced by what that gentleman said with his comment. And I'm not pointing there for any reason, yeah? Because sometimes people, I was in SOAS once, and I said, on the one hand you have Jibreel, and on the other hand you have Iblis, and somebody opened the door and came in at that time. Yeah? But according to our theory, Iblis is the greatest Jibreel potentially, so it shouldn't make a difference. If we can arrive at that beautiful point, then we will see it will become easy to let go. Today, we are preoccupied by little things. Little things preoccupy us, waste our days. Sometimes you find this scenario, don't you, that two people dispute and then they go to court. Both of them know that they are both going to lose money. But the state of arrogance and ego is such that we want to. They're both adamant. What if one of them relents and says, listen, you take it, rather than me giving it to the legal system? You take it. Allah knows best. What will he lose? False pride? Does he not know Allah yu'azzu man yasha wa yudhillu man yasha? How easy is that? Instead of giving 10,000, 100,000 pounds to the legal system and legal fees, if that 100,000 pounds is given in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we still don't do that, do we, at times? Our arrogance is such because we can't let go. In this state, we will not stop sinning. We will still sin. However, it becomes easier to revert and to make amends immediately. Even if a person has consumed alcohol, what stops them from coming into the mosque and falling in that sajda? Even if a person has cheated somebody, what stops them from going into sajda, asking forgiveness and giving the money back? If I have said something wrong about somebody, instead of justifying, why can't I just say, oh Allah, forgive me? Then if I can't face the other person, then I can say to Allah, oh Allah, you know that I'm not strong enough to face the other person because I'm too embarrassed, or my ego is too large, huge, but you know my state, you forgive me. If we can arrive at that point, things become very, very simple because Allah becomes that guiding principle. Look at the Sahaba of the Prophet, how grand these people were. And the way the Imam talks about them is truly remarkable. These people left Makkah. When they left Makkah, they abandoned their homes. Everything they owned, they abandoned. They abandoned their families. En route to Medina, they survived on a single date per 2 people per day. This was their state. And then once in Medina, they were called on to fight the aggressors, and they fought their own blood. But at the end of the day, their state of reversion to that point